Sorry guys, I know I'm huge compared to what I'm used to. Even on my screen right now, it looks like I'm looking at it from IMAX because of the size of my 32-inch screen. So, it's huge. I am planning on getting a better camera, so I know the quality isn't that good. I don't know why I'm going to get a better camera, I just know that I'm getting one and it's in the plans. So, I've I had a shower thought earlier today about how this can be managed. And I've been working on it. So, here's a recap. So, last video I mentioned that it would be a constitutional violation of a death penalty that would trigger a immediate constitutional violation in the event of due process. The reason for that is because of conservatives. Conservatives will be pushing pushing the verdict. They'll be pushing the courts to make a verdict, where even the defense can't have a defense if they're going to push a death penalty because of eye for an eye. And then there's the Charlie Kirk. I saw it on. I was looking through some stuff on YouTube, and Charlie Kirk did talk about the death penalty, and he supported the death penalty. So yeah, his followers, Charlie Kirk followers, will push a death penalty very hard, which violates due process because he doesn't have equal protections. This is about going after someone they see as a liberal. So, in their minds, they see a liberal. And that becomes democracy where you turn it against the person. So, what you'd have to do in this case, I mean, it's not even, you couldn't even do a mistrial at that point because it would just loop forever and ever. You can't do that. So what's gonna need to happen is, and I thought about it, is the feds are gonna have to build their own case. They don't have I don't think there's any evidence of this happening right now, but they will have to build their own case. I don't know what it's gonna be on, but it can't be on a constitution. They can't have that as their base of a constitutional violation because then they're going to say, well, the feds they're not doing their job. And you also have the conservative president. You have a Republican president that wouldn't do it. It's a whole mess if he did that. So you're going to have to get him on some kind of gun law or something in the realm of that. People much more intelligent in those positions would definitely know what to do. But then the conservatives are going to be running the federal court, the federal criminal court as well, and they're going to push the maximum sentence they can do. And this is a violation of the Constitution as well if they do this, but they're going to be forced into doing it. And of course, when you do it at the federal court, the judge, the prosecutor, and the defense will all know what's going on, and they will know that they're running the courts. The conservatives are running the courts. And the Constitution does not have anything to account for this scenario. But it's not equal protection. The Constitution, there's no court that works in between the feds and the state. There's no court because if a court did exist between them, then it would be under the control of the executive branch, which would mean that the president, regardless of their certifications or whatnot, they would have to be judged in a court. and that would that's the reason why we have the courts is set up as we do, so there isn't a president that could act as a judge against a person they disagree with. So they can't just put someone out and say, hey, this person needs to be in a courtroom because we don't agree with what he says. So there's that. So what the feds are going to have to do in this situation, it's like I said, it's very extraordinary. But what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to push a very harsh punishment, one that is completely unconstitutional, that is at a higher standing that they can negotiate with. I don't know who you. I know you do negotiations with the state and the feds, because in most cases, not every case, the harsher, and I want to talk about this in the last video, but I forgot about it. But usually, but not always, the federal has harsher, strict sentences than a state would. So they're carried out first before the state does. So you're going to have to create something so unjust, so cruel and unusual for what's going on, for killing one person, that makes the conservatives happy, where you just lock them up, and you'd have to do that. And the liberals don't have the power. You have to do something so drastic that it will be seen as the Trump sentence against liberals. If there was any liberal that ever did this again, they would get this Trump sentencing. So it sets precedent. But you also have, if you carry out the death penalty, if we know it's coming, we know it's coming. They'll be forced to, on the state level. There's not a. I do not. Let me make sure. I do not think that the federal government, the federal criminal courts, has a death penalty. Okay, it does. All right. You could ask, well, what carry? That's death penalty versus death. So I'm gonna read this. It says the federal death penalty applies to all 50 states and U.S. territories, but is used relatively rarely. So there is a federal death penalty, but it's rarely imposed on people. The vast majority being applied by state governments. So there will be negotiation that would have to go on, but ultimately what the federal government will have to do is they have to appeal to the conservatives, even though they know that it's against the U.S. Constitution. The U.S. Constitution prevents stuff like this from happening, but due to the circumstances and how everything is going together, it's going to have to go outside the bounds of the Constitution, where they're forced to do it. Which creates the whole thing is a constitutional violation, but conservatives don't know. Most conservatives wouldn't know that, but the courts are going to have to be forced to do it anyways, because it's democracy. Yeah, you can't use democracy in a courtroom, but that's what's going to happen in this case. Yeah. Anyways, what's going to happen is, I already know what's going to happen. The feds are going to, of course, poke an appeal. Well, it's not. Why did I just say that? Not an appeal. Yeah, it will be. They will appeal to the conservatives with their sentencing. Well, they won't say that's unjust. They will say that's eye for an eye. So it could be a death penalty. But what's going to happen in practice is going to be completely different. So they're going to do the sentencing. They're going to say they put him in prison, but really what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to ship Tyler to a foreign country, new identity, new everything, and say, don't come back, don't talk about this. And he's going to be under strict supervision, of course. But he can't be, if this gets blown early, I can talk to you about it now because people aren't going to believe me, right? So people are not going to believe me. I mean, even if you did believe me, there's really nothing you can do about it because you're really going to go against them. You could get rid of me, but the fact remains that this is already written. You can't do anything outside of this. It's a very limited space where no one can do anything and move around. So it is what it's going to have to be. It is all a violation of the U.S. Constitution, but the government knows how unjust it is, and they're going to say, don't come back. And of course, at that moment, Tyler will understand what's happening in the United States, the real story behind what's going on. And he's going to see the side of things that most wouldn't even comprehend. So, yeah. So, and then what they're going to do, they have to do something where the state cannot carry out the sentencing or the conviction that they originally put on Tyler. And of course, they're going to have to say that Tyler died in prison. It can be a random day. It can be months later. It can, it's all corruption. But it's corruption to point out a fact about the limitations and the flaws of the U.S. Constitution when it's used in this way. And when you have democracy in this particular case, unintentionally, what people are saying, they don't realize what they're saying. They don't know the laws. They don't know the legalese. They don't know the court system. But they're creating it where it's democracy is going against a person just because they're opposite of them. And that's the ideological politics behind it. And it is a very extraordinary case, and the Constitution does not have a scenario for this. It just doesn't. But due to how technology has evolved and all that, it just was the perfect storm for this to happen. So, yeah, it's the feds going against the states without telling them they're going against the states. So yeah, what I would imagine what the feds would do is they would pick a symbolic date that somehow applies to this channel, maybe something that I personally know or something I can relate to. And then I can imagine someone saying, well, this is the day, the conservatives say, well, this is the day that Tyler died, and this is a very important day where the Trump supporters and all that supported. It would be a historic landmark case, but they think that they've won, and they really didn't. It's the federal government can make you believe anything, and that's what's going to have to happen in this. And it's not a punishment, and it's not a reward. It's just the circumstances of the limitations of the Constitution. It's a paradox. The U.S. law cannot convict someone like this. It's not designed to do that, so therefore it can't. It can persecute while also not being able to persecute it, but to be forced to on both sides. So yeah, I can definitely see that happening. I will be making videos covering this because I do want to document all this as it goes on, and I do see all that happening. That is not out of the realm of possibility. It's not even a possibility. They'll be forced to do it. There is no choice. Yet there's no choice. They'll be forced to, but it's under the perception and democracy of what people perceive, because there's a Republican president and there's conservatives, and it was involved someone who was a conservative with strong political. He had strong political influence in the United States. So yeah, we're seeing a very big exploit, if you will, in the United States Constitution. And yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye on this because this is gonna be a very big thing coming out. So yeah, I'll be documenting and reporting on it. And as far as I don't know if other people are, but I'm sure that I'm like the only one who's doing this. I'd imagine I am, but I guess that year or two that was in criminal justice really did something. I don't know. I think I mean I understand. I would have never known about the federal government the way that I do if I didn't do that, because a lot of this is just coming off from memory and what I learned. But it really pushes the federal government in a. It doesn't just push the federal government in a existential crisis. It also puts the United States government in a existential crisis. It's this was the worst case scenario for America, because if this was done in a foreign country, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. We wouldn't be talking about the U.S. Constitution, this how it's not designed for this and all that. This would have happened elsewhere. It wouldn't have been our problem. But now, because the state and the feds, it's just a really big thing. We just gotta wait it out. And there's a lot of another thing, and I'll point this out too. When I was starting to talk about this, I could see a lot of double meanings in this. Like, I can definitely see. Sorry, my nose itches. I can see a lot of double meanings here with my life, because things like if I said, conservatives won't go with any of this unless it's eye for an eye. And I know that the conservatives, with me talking about all this, they would definitely not like what I'm saying, because they want to believe they're in charge. They think that they're in charge. Now, of course, I'm not going to be censored or anything, and I'm not worried about them doing something to me, because I've been through a lot of. I've pretty much came to the end point of my life already. But so that's why I can do these videos and I can document things. That stuff doesn't bother me. I have it doesn't bother me. But I can say that this is really pushing the limits of not just the U.S. Constitution, but me and what I'm able to do and what I know, and the federal government, the U.S. government, it pushes it all to the limits. How far can ideology go in the United States? How far can politics go in the United States? And it's more about everyone on the outside than it is about Tyler himself. Now, Tyler, like I said in the last video, Tyler did not come out and said, he didn't wake up one day and say, I have a plan to put the federal government and the U.S. government in this position where their legitimacy in U.S. law has a crisis. There was no intent of that, but that's exactly what he did. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting, and like I said, I'm gonna be documenting it. I'm sure that there's gonna be a lot of things coming on my Facebook regarding this. I actually didn't know he had a court he was in court like 4 days ago. I didn't know that. All I know is that people were talking about it to me online, and I wasn't paying attention. So yeah, I can definitely see that this is starting to build up into something, and so yeah, I might create a playlist or something, but yeah, I definitely keep an eye out. So guys, I'll end it here. It's 20, 20 minutes and 26 seconds when I at this point. No, 20:30. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Um, I don't know if I'll make another Charlie Kirk video. I don't know, but I will be making more videos soon. I really do want to do the federal government, federal government, and the government and the U.S. government video soon. I might do that tomorrow. It's currently January 3rd, so yeah, I got videos coming out. Well, this is the last video. This is the latest video that's gonna come out, and I don't have any scheduled after this one as of at this time. So the next video, I don't know what it's gonna be, but I want it to be one of the federal government videos. So, oh, I might do the Virginia video. I might do that one because I want to build up to that other one. Anyways, like I always say, I'm rambling right now. So guys, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. I recently had there's been a new subscriber, so I have 43 subscribers at the time of making this video. So thank you for subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.